Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I'm exceptionally excited for today's review because I am going to be reviewing Misfits, one of my favorite bands of all fucking time. I love everything about Misfits because I practically love anything horror related, and the Misfits are just a perfect fit for me, to be honest. But before we start with this video, I would like to thank Cool Yeah for guessing what I will be reviewing this week. For anybody interested, I tend to put up hints of what I will be reviewing in the coming week, so just check the description for that, and also check my Instagram for that as well. So the Misfits, or Misfits, however you would like to say it, it doesn't really matter. They are a band who you see everywhere and anywhere with their extensive line of merchandise that practically anybody wears, even people that don't even fucking know the band, which, you know, I'll never understand that, but okay, sure. Misfits are a band who have had quite a few lineup changes over the years, and this does make it quite confusing when discussing Misfits as a whole. Misfits was originally founded by Glenn Danzig. Well, he was one of the founding members of it. I think he was with Misfits for about 6 years, releasing a lot of EPs and singles, and I think about 2 albums. So after Glenn Danzig had left Misfits, we consider that post-Danzig era. The first post-Danzig album that Misfits had released was American Psycho in 1997. This album marked the addition of vocalist Michael Graves and Dr. Chud on the drums. Then came the release of their second post-Danzig album, which is the album that we will be talking about today, Famous Monsters, released in the year 1999. After the release of this album, a lot of people left the band. Michael Graves left the band, Dr. Chud left the band, and Doyle Wolfgang von Frankenstein left the band. The album was named after a genre-specific film magazine called Famous Monsters of Filmland. Famous Monsters in general, as an album, has a lot of filler songs. It's got many of them, and there's like 18 tracks on this album, so like you don't really need those songs, but okay, sure. This album in specific does feel rather inferior to other releases that they have made. Misfits use an intro and an outro for this album, and I just think it kind of just, the intro sounds like the outro and the outro sounds like the intro, and not in a very good way at all. The intro is called Kong at the Gates, and yeah, it's good for an intro, but then you fast forward to the outro, which like sounds like Kong at the Gates. Why? However, I will say that the transition between Kong at the Gates and Forbidden Zone is a pretty good transition, so I suppose in that case the intro does kind of work. And Forbidden Zone sort of sets the tone for the rest of this album, but not quite, because it does just feel quite wishy-washy. But again, we get hit by all those like choruses that just like roar into your head, and it just, I'm listening to it in my head right now as I'm talking about the song. There's just something about the way they write the songs, it just gets stuck in your head. A bit like Ramones, really. Lost in Space is, it's pretty good, I guess. It's more of a snappy song. It's got a lot more energy and oomph for itself. It's got a really good dynamic going on between all the different instruments and the vocals. You know, you really do get that raw energy off of that song. Mind you, I used to religiously listen to this album non-stop when I was like 16 years old, and Dust to Dust is a song that I loved. I don't know why I loved it, but now that I listen to it as like a grown woman, it kind of just loses its novelty. There's too much of same going on in the song overall. It just doesn't feel special. However, The Crawling Eye does have a really good thing going for it at the beginning, with the really like mean type of thrashy guitar line that we got going on, but then it just gets lost in it. It just becomes really flat as a song. And the same can be said about Witch Hunt. It's got a really sick guitar riff. To me, it just sounds like a bunch of guys just standing there like robots with, yeah, like a really cool like makeup stuff going on and outfits. But they're just standing there robotically, kind of like the Beatles, but like creepy Beatles, just singing and performing and playing instruments. Scream, however, is a song that I fucking love so much. It's such a good song. In fact, the music video was directed by none the less but George A. Romero. Well, if you're a fan of horror movies, then you will of course know who George A. Romero is. And if you don't, then what are you doing with your life? It's a turning point in this album, I believe, because from this point on, the songs get heavier, they get nicer, they get beefier, and just so much better than any of the songs that were before this particular song. And then we've got Saturday Night, which provides a pretty good contrast, and it's a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek type of ballad. And I guess if you read into the lyrics, you'll get the comedic side of it, or I don't know, slightly disturbing side of it, but that's kind of what you expect from Misfits. It's hard to explain, but they are kind of tongue-in-cheek in a sense that, like, you know, that kind of thing where it's like, I killed your baby. If you're a Misfits fan, you'll get what I'm talking about. If you're not, then you'll think I'm seriously disturbed. But I think that in this particular song, Michael Graves' vocals are beautiful. They're brilliant because they fit the song. They're very melancholic. It works really well. It's very effective. And I think Pumpkinhead carries that on. It's another song that, much like Saturday Night, does manage to tell a story through the lyrics and through the instrumentals as well. Moving on to Scarecrow, which is a song I absolutely love. In this particular song, I can really hear that Roadrunner Records or Roadrunner label, recording label influence in it. It thrives off of that line, I'm Scarecrow Man, and it thrives off of the repetition and that really pungent type of like guitar riff that is like really just very, very beefy. However, Die Monster Die, oh my god, it is just a filler song. There's no other way of describing this song. It's repeating Die Monster Die like a million times, and then it's just like, yeah, that's pretty much it. But in turn, Living Hell, which I think is another filler song, but it's a good filler song. It's just an easy listen is the best way I would describe it as a song. I particularly enjoy the hell references in the song, although there aren't many. It's just Living Hell, and that's pretty much about it. Just because I really enjoy hell as a place. It's a lovely place.
It's really nice.
I love Descending Angel. It's definitely one of the songs that if you were to do a compilation of, which there are many compilations of Misfit songs, that song would have to be in it. It's such an important song. Everything about it just works magnificently. The woes are in the right place, because we do know for a fact that Misfits fucking love going whoa,
Whoa!
whoa in practically all of their songs, and we really enjoy that. Sometimes it makes the song sound flat and just meaningless because like why are they going whoa, but in Descending Angel it's very effective and very well used. Them sort of carries that similar vibe that Descending Angel had set out, and it starts with that, right? But then it just kind of like becomes a little bit too old and overused and just makes the song overall sound mediocre, and I don't know, it's a good song, but it's like I'm okay with it, I guess. And Hold My Beer, because Fiend Club is just a waste of space really as a song. A filler song. And not a very good one. And it's kind of awkward because the verses sound better than the actual chorus itself. And speaking of filler songs, Hunting Humans is king of all filler songs. Because wow, it's way too flat, way too repetitive, and a little bit too cheesy. And you know, we like cheesy over here, but this sure is not the kind of cheesy you would like. Moving on to my favorite song on this entire album, my number one favorite song, and that is Helena or Helena. I don't know how the hell you say this name, okay? I'm Spanish, okay? I'm bilingual, so sometimes I say things wrong. This is a true gem on this album, I do have to say. I mean, when you think of Misfits, when I think of Misfits, I think of this song, well, as one of the songs. And it does give me kind of like a She, Cough Cool from, I think it's 1977 type of vibes. This kind of like tragic romance that just turns incredibly morbid and disturbing and very questionable. Lyrically, it's a very interesting song, as most Misfit songs are. They are very interesting in terms of the lyrics. I mean, one of the lyrics says, if I cut up your arms, if I cut up your legs, would you still love me? I think it's funny. Other people, not so much. And, you know, in general, like in terms of the instrumentals of the song, I just love the whole breakdown. It's a beautiful breakdown where it gets really, really heavy, and, you know, that's what you want. This is a very difficult album for me to give a rating because anytime I've listened to this, to Famous Monsters, I've always skipped like the majority of the songs on it because they're just filler songs. I mean, come on. So overall, I would give this album like a positive 3.5 out of 5, leaning towards a 4 because, you know, it's Misfits. They're not bad, and they never truly are bad, except when they did that like album full of like covers of songs. I think it's called Project 1950. Oh god, that was a terrible moment. I can't remember the year it was released. I think it was 2003. I might get that wrong, but oh god, their cover of Donna, isn't that I think that's a Richie Valens song. If it is, it would have Richie Valens quaking in his grave. If any of you have any opinions on Famous Monsters, Project 1950, American Psycho, or whatever to do with the Misfits, or Misfits, however you want to call them, please do hit me up in the comments section with your own opinion, because that to me is the reason I make these videos. I want to genuinely discuss all of this music with all of you. Thank you so much for watching, especially if you watched till the end. Please subscribe to my channel. I do music reviews and anything to do with music, actually. I'll see you guys next week with another new video.